Hey everyone, welcome to Star Wars Anatomy. Previously, I did a pretty in-depth list on some of the most inspirational and often overlooked female Jedi. In doing so, I may have pointed out that the Jedi Order, especially without the addition of Legends lore, is pretty much a boys' club. I mean, it's really no surprise if this comment section of basically any gendered article is to be believed. Guys are pretty sure chicks are ruled by their emotions, right? And that's totally a Sith thing. So it stands to reason that the Sith would be overrun with badass ladies cutting down the patriarchal Jedi, right? I mean, that only seems fair. Let's go find them. Maybe. Or perhaps I am... crap. Nope, that's not it at all. Huh, alright. So, before you start throwing feminazi flags in my direction and calling me a man-hater, don't. I'm not, and I don't. Just letting my inner Sith out and pointing out some major BS. There are some pretty awesome female Sith sisters out there, and what follows in my list is the best of the worst. Or, at least the best of the dark side. Number 7. The Seventh Sister. Like many girls growing up in the 90s, my life revolved around failing my Tamagotchis and pretending to be Sarah Michelle Gellar. So when I heard she was going to be voicing a Sith, I was instantly intrigued. The female Marilyn showed up in the second season of Disney's canon series Rebels. The Seventh Sister is an agile fighter who knows how to be cold, calculating, and lethal. This is scary enough on its own, but once you know that she was originally a Jedi, she gets a whole lot scarier. The Seventh Sister gave herself over to the Empire and was inducted into the Inquisitors, and thus took part in carrying out the final parts of Order 66. She abducted Force-sensitive children, and was comfortable killing anyone who got in her way. It took none other than Darth Maul to bring her down. Ultimate badass points. Number 6. Darth Cognus. When your other name is the Huntress, you pretty much know you rock. Darth Cognus was a trained assassin, royal bodyguard, mercenary, infiltrator, and expert poisoner extraordinaire. She also had the kind of telekinetic and precognitive abilities that we just didn't get to see in Force users until Episode 1. And, if all that wasn't enough, Darth Cognus had the talent of cutting others off from their connection to the Force, which struck fear into the hearts of Jedi and Sith alike. So why the heck isn't there more artwork of her? Trained by none other than Darth Bane and later Zannah, Darth Cognus pretty much sets the bar for being a grade A Sith. Number 5. Darth Talon. Most frequently known as that hot red Twi'lek, Darth Talon was rocking the red and black that Darth Maul made the standard for Sith protocol, which I guess is why this happened. Alright. This ruthless killer was a duelist without peer. She could utilize Sith lightning, control beasts' minds, and has found herself in the stashes of many a fanboy, which I guess is some kind of power. All jokes aside, Talon was a third-generation Sith who was exceedingly proud of who and what she was. Born on Korriban and trained to be part of the Emperor's hand, Darth Talon was fierce in her dedication to Darth Krayt. What more could you ask for? Number 4. Zannah. So, it's sort of the Jedi's fault that Zannah ended up where she did. They came to her planet looking for recruits to battle against the Sith, and Zannah, who showed no Force potential at all, was taken because her cousins were. I can only assume that this Jedi was like, fine, whatever, I don't get paid for this. However, she never made it to the Jedi Temple. The Brotherhood of Darkness attacked the ship, and Zannah just sorta fell out. Everyone thought she was dead because they are a bunch of jerks. But that's okay, because there's Law, a bouncer who broke her fall. The two became best buddies. Law tried to teach Zannah that all life was worth saving. However, the Jedi who killed her didn't seem to agree. Zannah killed that Jedi, and it should be noted that she was only 9 at the time. Zannah eventually became a Sith, shocker, and the apprentice to Darth Bane, the very first apprentice who would fall under the rule of 2. After years of continuing Sith teachings in secret, Zannah took the ultimate of Sithdom and killed the prolific Darth Bane. Well, mostly. Somehow, Darth Bane continued on by living in her hand. Yeah, I choose to ignore that too. Number 3. Lumiya. If the Empire is to the Star Wars universe what the Nazis are to the world, then Shira Bree was part of the Hitler Youth program. She had top marks. A Force-sensitive human female born smack dab in the middle of Imperial rule, Shira Bree embraced the Empire with open arms. She was originally picked out and trained by the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order, or Compnor for short. Her achievements saw her fast-tracked into other training, and ultimately into Imperial intelligence. She became well-versed in all forms of martial arts. She was granted some biological augmentation that gave her accelerated healing and dulled her pain receptors. She became an ace pilot, And Darth Vader followed her training with great interest, and began training her in the ways of the Sith in private. Totally not an innuendo. And if that weren't awesome enough, she became a spy inside the rebellion in order to befriend and, undermine Luke Skywalker. She did so by making herself into a rebellion hero and then making Luke look like a great big old jerk for shooting her down. She was severely injured and then rebuilt by her biggest fan in his own image. Seriously, no innuendos here. What it really comes down to is that Lumiya was a cybernetic Sith magic-wielding ace pilot who eventually named herself Queen of the Sith. I mean, really. Number 2. Darth Traya. Or Darth Traya. However you feel like saying it. I think the mark of a truly amazing Sith is the ability to play the long game, and Darth Traya wins at that. I guess it's easier to set up the Board of Destiny when you have spent most of your younger years as a historian of ancient Force relics. Originally, Traya, or Traya, they're interchangeable here, was a Jedi, and devoted her job to collecting and cataloging history. During these years, she was the Jedi Master to plenty of young Padawans who went on to be excellent Jedi. This was, of course, until a particular young Padawan named Revan graduated into Jedi status and then went all dark side. Whoops. For some reason that's pretty much unfathomable to me, she was held accountable for Revan's actions, and she got pretty pissed off about it and took her vast knowledge to the dark side. She re-established an academy, trained an entire legion of Sith apprentices, actions that would eventually lead to another Jedi-Sith war. However, she wouldn't get to head up that war because her Sith companions decided to exile her, cutting her off from the Force in the process. Spoiler alert, what she does after that is pretty friggin' amazing. Though it's not just her planning that makes her a formidable Sith. It was her unparalleled ability to manipulate the mental aspects of the Force. Her telekinetic prowess allowed her to manipulate multiple lightsabers without touching them. And after being disconnected and reconnected from the Force, I feel she gained a unique perspective, mostly a bitter one. Number 1. Asajj Ventress. Let's count it off, shall we? Dathomir Witch, Assassin, Sith Apprentice, Military Leader, Bounty Hunter, Redeem. Ventress is a canon character whose story is complicated, layered, and wholly her own. She is, in a less than humble opinion, the most deadly Sith lady to ever walk the Star Wars universe. Born outside the Republic on Dathomir, Asajj started learning about the Force as a magical concept. She was quickly enslaved, because of her own people, as a young girl and taken to live on the war-torn planet of Ratatak. Her life didn't get any easier from there. The Jedi found her and took her on as an apprentice, and they started trying to bring peace to the planet that she now thought of as her home. After 10 years, her Jedi Master was killed, and Asajj got a little angry about that. She was well into the dark side when Count Dooku found her, and she became a huge part of the Clone Wars, going wherever Dooku sent her, and killing whomever a PG rating would allow, right up until Dooku betrayed her. A culmination of war, violence, death, lies, and deceit. I'm pretty sure that the highlight of Asajj's life was witty repartee with Obi-Wan, and I will totally go down with this ship. Ventress eventually turned to her Night Sister heritage to try and exact her revenge on her previous master. This went on for some time, right up until this book. Spoiler alert, I threw this book across the room. Even so, I feel that Ventress embodies everything that there is to Sith. There you have it, a list of the who and the why for female Sith. Like my list? Don't like it? Feel like I left someone out? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this and you want to hear more about it, please like and subscribe.